our marketing professionals today. I'm shushing the marketing professionals. I am so excited to introduce them. We've had the pleasure at the Chamber of working with them for quite some time, some longer than others, and I have just a brief bio on each one. Because this is an educational offering, being a chamber university, your professionals are not allowed to sell themselves today. So I get to do that for them. And so I have the pleasure to introduce, first I'm going to have you stand when I say your name. Joanne Colella is the owner of Colella Communications. She provides professional copywriting and editing services to create and improve marketing content for businesses and organizations. Her career in communications began at Madison Square Garden in New York City, where she helped establish its first in-house advertising department before working with the creative teams at a New York City advertising agency. She went on to provide freelance writing and editing services for numerous organizations and businesses, authored a weekly newspaper column, and wrote hundreds of feature magazine articles and press releases. She ultimately became the longtime editor-in-chief of 5 regional monthly magazines. Joanne launched Colella Communications in 2018 and now offers her experience and expertise to a wide range of clients. Through her business, she is proud to offer an affordable option for businesses and for nonprofits of all sizes that need written content to market their services on various platforms. Give Joanne a round of applause. Next, we're going to meet Barbara Murphy-Shannon. Barbara is a business coach, a writer, and an email marketing strategist. She's the founder of Foreplay, which is both the name of her one-person email marketing agency, as well as her weekly blog for entrepreneurs who want more sales for their products and services through the power of email marketing and automation. Barbara has her master's in psychology and totally geeks out on word psychology and how reading certain words is foreplay for your brain, hence the business name. Just by reading specific words, serotonin and oxytocin are released, which creates pleasure, making the reader feel good. When you make a reader feel good, they'll naturally want to listen to you, read more about you and your products or service, and ultimately buy. Clients tap her to make flat, cliche, one-note emails read like fresh, personality-filled magic. That's a great one-liner all by itself. She's written email sequences that have sold out programs and generated over $35,000 in just 2 weeks. Barbara has helped many entrepreneurs in various industries, including coaching, entertainment, the arts, education, travel, nutrition, mindfulness, wellness, and beauty. She has appeared in online publications and podcasts, including the Creative Woman Leader podcast, Voyage Phoenix, Beauty Marketing Simplified, and First for Women. If it's not stringing words together in a meaningful way or building an email sequence, she can be found outdoors, hiking the Darrow Canyon, or cruising on her electric blue bike around town on a Sunday morning, and why there is no covered parking at Fry's. Barbara puts out a weekly email called Foreplay Copy, where she gives you all the tools, tips, and training you need to turn your email list into a profitable asset that generates tons of revenue every time you send an email, and it's free. She will share with you how to sign up at foreplaycopy.com. Give Barbara Murphy-Shannon a round of applause. Next, we are going to meet Debbie Clason from Clason Communications. As the owner of Clason Communications, Debbie brings more than 40 years of experience as a journalist, a corporate marketing director, and public relations professional to the Fountain Hills business community. Her clients include nonprofit organizations, restaurants, healthcare professionals, financial institutions, and governmental agencies. Debbie is a graduate of Indiana University with a degree in journalism and education. She's a member of Four Peaks Rotary, a Fountain Hills Chamber of Commerce board director, and graduate of the Fountain Hills Leadership Academy. July is Debbie's birthday month, and to celebrate, she's launching her first online course on how to write engaging content for your Facebook business page. Today, it launches today. As a Fountain Hills business owner, you'll find a coupon code for a substantial discount on this training in your educational packet. Debbie is a proud mother of 3 adult children. Matthew, who lives in Chandler, and is an enterprise modern data center specialist for Dell. Lauren is a journalist for Roll Call and covers healthcare on Capitol Hill. And Kristen works on solar and wind projects as a project development manager for an environmental company in Indianapolis. Debbie lives in Fountain Hills with her rescue dog, George. Give Debbie a round of applause. Another Fountain Hills Chamber Board of Director is Andrew Day of DayLite Films. DayLite Films is a multi-award-winning and nominated full-service video production company with international, national, and local clients. You can see all of his great works on his website at DayLiteFilms.com, as well as my favorite video of all time, which is the Chamber PR video. Give Andrew a round of applause.
Good morning, everybody. Let's give the Chamber a round of applause for offering. My name's Debbie Clason, and for those of you who have not met me, just let me say that it's my privilege to be standing up here and presenting with this amazing group of marketing professionals today. We have been working for the last 3 weeks very diligently to put together a program that is value-packed for you. One of the things, I can't do all of this at the same time. I'm going to advance the slide. Yes, today we're going to be talking about your marketing strategy. And whether you already have a marketing strategy or have not yet put one together, we hope that the information that we're going to share today is going to add value to either something that you already have, and you can take tips away on how to make it better, or you'll know exactly what you need to do in order to put one together. Because, again, that's I may have to just stand up here and do this for a second. I want to call your attention to such a good MC, turning my back on everyone here. I want to call your attention to some things in your packet. One of the things that you have is one of the things that you have today is a note-taking sheet. And we hope that you'll use this today as we move through some of these slides. Make sure that you write your questions that you have for us. We'll leave time for those at the end. We'll be entertaining those during the presentation because we have so much to show you. Please turn off or silence your phones if you haven't already done that. We know you're very busy business people, so if you have to take a phone call, we get that. Just if you could just kind of step out in the hallway so that we don't have to interrupt the flow of the information that we're sharing in order for you to do that. And so I think that's it. Our goal today, I think I've already been through them, is just to share marketing tips and information and strategies with you. And what is a marketing strategy? Obviously, it's just your overall game plan. So if you haven't put any time into thinking about what your overall game plan is today, we're going to be giving you definitely some information for you to consider. As far as an overview is concerned, before we get ready, we just kind of want to make sure everybody's on the same page. I hope this isn't like drinking out of a fire hose for all of you today, so do write your questions on that sheet if we seem to go too fast, but we want to get as much of it in as we possibly can. We're going to be talking about branding and marketing, and it's important for you guys to know what the difference is. So think of your brand as something that really describes your personality. It comes from your heart. It can be anything, the logos and the colors you use, the way you interact with your customers. So anything that defines your business and your personality. And think of marketing as the things that you do in order to promote that brand, from attending chamber networking events to even advertising in the Fountain Hills Times and posting on social media. So you'll hear those two terms used today, branding and marketing. We just wanted to make sure you understood what we were talking about. And also, you can waste a lot of time and money if you don't know who your customer is. So in your package, you'll also see that we put in there a customer-based worksheet. Probably call it something completely different. Segmentation worksheet. Thanks for being my extra set of hands, man. So this is your homework for today. We don't have time for you guys to sit here and do this, but take this home and really give it some thought. When you know who your customers are, and you know as much about them as you can possibly get, then it's a lot easier for you to decide what marketing strategies that we're going to use today are the ones that you should invest your hard-earned dollars into. Let's see, I'm sorry. Yeah. If you write all over that today and you want a new one, when you opt in on my website, I'll send you one. So you can always get a clean copy if you need it. And I also want to call attention then to your monthly marketing budget. Make sure that you write that down. Write down what you're willing to spend each month. As far as budget is concerned, just a few recommendations. The SBA says that you should allocate between 7 and 8% of your total revenue to marketing. But when they did some research, especially since the pandemic, they found out that the B2B, the business to business, is actually about 10%, and the B2C is 15 to 18%. And those of you who have launched a new business lately know that it's probably a lot more than that. But that's one thing that you really should get, that you really should understand. Set your budget, write it down. And the other thing is don't be afraid to spend it, because it doesn't do you any good if you just budget for it and don't spend it. One more thing before we move on. Also, it's important to know how much you make an hour. So take time to figure that out and write that down, because that's really important in determining, as you move forward, what things that you can do yourself as far as marketing is concerned, and then when it makes sense to hire a professional. So when you know you've got some marketing to do and you think you can do it yourself and you get a quote from professionals like us up here on the stage, you think, oh my gosh, that sounds like a lot, just divide it by your hourly rate, because that'll tell you really quickly how many hours it's going to take you to learn how to do that well, and you can make that determination. Is it a good idea for me to take that time away from running my business to learn this, or does it make sense financially and sanity-wise too, for me just to hire a professional to do it? Okay, now I'm running like crazy through this, but really I want to make sure we get it all covered. So here are some of the topics we're going to talk about today. We're going to start with your online presence. But as you can see, look at all of this we've got going on today. I'm just going to pull all of this up so you can see we've got a lot to cover. And so what I want to do right now is just start with your online presence. And no marketing presentation about an online presence would be complete without talking about SEO. Does everybody know what SEO is? Right? SEO is search engine optimization. And basically what that is, it just improves the quality and the quantity of traffic to your website or to your Facebook page or to any online identity that you've got set up. And it also improves your rank on search engine results pages, which they call those SERPs. So, what affects your SEO and why should you be worried about that? Well, SEO can take months to start working. And so I want to you guys to understand that you can't just create a website and expect everybody to find you immediately. SEO takes wants to start working, mainly because it's all automated, right? It's all machine learning. And so we've got all of these bots that are kind of crawling all of the different websites and they're picking up all the information. And those bots are the ones, those are the search engine results pages. And I want to blow your mind, and I see the eyes are glazing over in your head. Just know that the content that it just makes a difference, the kind of content that you share. So, a secure and accessible website is one of the things that affects your SEO. Joanne's going to talk to you about that in just a minute. The age of your website really affects your SEO. Optimized content, which basically just means the keywords and phrases that you use whenever you're online. Barbara's going to talk to you a little bit about email. That can affect your SEO. I'm going to talk to you about social media. That can affect your SEO. The words and phrases that you're using on your website, Barbara's going to talk to you about that in just a minute. So you want to optimize that and choose keywords and phrases that your potential customers are searching for. Relevant links, you make sure anytime you're linking to an outside source that helps your SEO. Anytime that somebody links to you, that helps your SEO as well. So again, I don't want to get too much into a website because John's going to get there. And then your social shares too. I get that question a lot. Does social media affect your SEO? And it really can, especially if people are sharing the stuff that you're doing online. So, that's it for SEO. And what I want to do now is hand it over to Barbara Joanne, so she's going to talk to you a little bit more about the online presence that is your website.
Slide is over there. Not too short for this microphone. Is that better? Okay. All right, question number one. Why do you need a website to market your business? We hear that question sometimes. Some people think it's not necessary. We're here to tell you that it is absolutely crucial. When people think of SEO, for instance, the first thing they think of is websites. If you have a business, you need a website presence online. Basically, think of a website as the cog of the wheel or the center of a spider web. Whether you have an expensive website with lots of links, lots of pages, different landing pages, or you just have a single basic homepage, this is where you should begin and where all of your other marketing options should spread out from. Some people think that having social media, like a Facebook page, is sufficient and that it's more affordable. And that's where we'll touch upon the idea of budgets. But developing a website really doesn't have to be that expensive. And there are a lot of online tools today that if you're so inclined, or if you know someone that can help you with it, you can easily build your own simple website. They have plug-and-play programs, put together the blocks, that's enough for you to get started. It's also important to remember, if you're considering just using social media like Facebook, you don't own those online platforms, and they're constantly changing, and sometimes they go down. So if your business is only on Facebook, and it crashes, or it changes, or it fades out of popularity someday, and doesn't own the universe, that means all your information goes away too. So you own your website, and you can protect that material. If you're only on social media, you're also competing against every other business that's on there. If you put posts and people are just scrolling through, the minute they scroll down, that's it, your information is gone, and they can't move on to the next thing. So a website for your business is crucial for various reasons. It lends credibility, and it enhances your professional image. This is where your branding comes into play. Your logo will be there, your color schemes, your mission statement, your values, your services. It establishes your unique brand and your voice that you will use on all the other platforms. It increases your visibility and allows people to search for you. This goes back to the SEO. This is how people search nowadays. It's been more and more popular, obviously, in recent years. It's especially true since COVID. when everything was shut down. Businesses were closed, but they were still trying to operate. Everyone was housebound, so what did they do? They went to the internet. That's where people are going to look for you. Your website can include both evergreen content, which is your standard information, name of your business, your services, your hours, location, but it can also include ongoing updates. You can have a blog where you can communicate with your customers. You can update information with your sales or promotions, announcements about your staff, new services that you're providing. It's a very flexible opportunity to get your information out. It also provides an efficient and convenient source of customer service. Most of you here are probably small business owners. You're chief cook and bottle washer. You're trying to run your business, keep your staffing up, man your operations. You don't necessarily have time to be answering mundane questions all day long. People call in, what are your hours? What do you have? What's on your menu? What's your special tonight? Use your website as a tool so that people know they can find that information there. The website, like I said, it serves as your home base. It points to all your other marketing materials, which in turn will bring people back to your website. For instance, your website will have links to your social media platforms, and then those platforms will have the link to your website. You may have a blog where you share a press release that you've distributed elsewhere, but people can see it online. If you use your marketing options and you use them well, they'll complement each other. And the goal is to keep circling people back to your website and where they will find the bulk of your information. A website also gives you all different kinds of options to generate sales, generate leads, create your client bases, collect information about your clients, and build loyalty because people will follow your site. If you're selling a product and you have online commerce options available, you can essentially make money 24/7. People can come to your website and place their orders, make reservations for your restaurant, whatever. They can do it, and you don't have to be there to be doing that face-to-face interaction. A website allows you to track analytics, so you can see what's effective, what people are following, what they're taking an interest in. If you have an email opt-in on your website, which Barbara will be talking about next, that's where you can put together a list of your clients. You can capture their information with the proper guidelines in place. And you can communicate with them throughout the year. You can send emails, you can send an email blasts, give them updates, remind them to come back to where your business information is. Email marketing, by the way, is highly effective, and that's a topic that Barbara will be talking about now.
Email marketing. I just want to make sure we understand that email marketing is different than an email that you send to a friend. That's email communication. So email marketing, I'm going to go through it, but just so we have a differentiation on what email marketing is. It's to promote your products and services. I have a question for you. How many in this room have an email account? Raise your hand. You don't have an email account? Do you have an email account?
Yes.
All right, so everybody in the room, right? Well, actually, there's over 4 billion email accounts globally, and they expect that will go to 4.6 by 2025. So email's not going anywhere. And when some people say, oh, email's dead, it's not dead. It's pretty increasing all the time. And then 72% of people prefer to get promoted with a promotion or buy something through email marketing. How many of you bought something from an email that you received? Come on, there's your hands. Yeah, we all get the emails, we all get the promotions. It could be anything from like Sephora, or it could be a restaurant that's giving you a discount, right? We all end up opening that email and then using that discount. And then people spend actually 138% more when they get an email promotion. So these are all stats just about what makes email so wonderful. So when people get an email, they're more likely to spend more money, which is always good. And so how do they do that? They do it through what we call segmentation. So if I take like the Sephora suggestion, I buy the same foundation from Sephora. Within 3 months, I get an email from them saying, hey, you need to order your foundation. And then I buy the foundation. But if I hadn't got that email, I probably would forget or do it a month later or maybe go somewhere else. So this is how email marketing works. And then it's really cost effective. So an email average costs 1 cent to send an email, as opposed to a stamp, which is 60 cents. I think it just changed yesterday, to 60 cents. So if you think about that. And then the ROI on email is, for every dollar you spend on email marketing, you get $44 back. I was going to bring dollars, and I wanted to do a demonstration. 44! And I didn't get to the bank. But that's a huge ROI to think about. So if you're not doing email marketing, these are some of the reasons you might want to consider. And then 99% of consumers check their email every day. Who checked their email today? All right. So if you're not doing email marketing, you should to this room. And then one of the big things that Joanne mentioned as well is ownership. So with an email list, you own that. That's your business asset. No one can take that away from you. As she mentioned in social media, I think it was like a year ago, Facebook did shut down for a day. It was crazy. But you can still email your list if you have a list. Who has a list of you? Does anyone have an email list? Awesome. And if you have, what about a client list? Do you have a client list? Are you emailing them? Okay, we can fix that. So how do you get started? So the first thing is it's like, what do they say? When you plant a tree 20 years ago? All right. When you start your list? Now. Today. Start your list today. Just start getting it going. And it doesn't have to be just on a website, which I'm going to explain, but it could be like if you have a front desk at your business, you start asking someone for their email list, and you do have to give something of value for that email list, and I'll talk more about that. But it could be at the front desk. If you're at an event like this, have some place they can sign up to give your information, you do have to then communicate with them. You can't just give the email list and then never communicate. So the first thing would be to create a plan and new goals for email. So sometimes the goals might be just brand awareness, that you want to email people to let them know what you're doing with your brand. It could be that you want to make sales, right? It could be that you just have different events coming up that you just want to make sure everybody's aware of. So create a plan, and then the plan should be also include how often you're going to email them. So the average, or the rule of thumb is no less than 1 time a week. If you do less than that, they're going to forget about you. One of the reasons email works so well is that you're communicating with your prospects all the time, so they can't forget about you. So when I want to go, get some makeup from somewhere, I'm like, oh, I just got that email from Miss Mary Kay. I would go to that, right? So you can keep communicating with them through email and build up brand awareness and bond. And then if you have more than one person in your team, you have to designate who's going to manage this, of course, right? So it could be yourself, the owner, or it could be somebody on your team, or you can hire somebody that does email marketing for a living. Sorry, I'll laugh. So what's an opt-in? Okay, so an opt-in on your website is you're giving some kind of value to the person you're replacing in exchange for their email list. So like this is a perfect opt-in. Get 21-day fat loss challenge, free training. So you click on that button, and what will happen is then the person's email address will go into an email service provider. The person then receives the guide. So now you have this person on your email list. Other opt-ins could be like a PDF, a checklist, ebook. It could be really anything. If you have something already made in your company, like you already have content, you can use that content as your opt-in. email service providers, because there's a lot of them, and there's different prices, different bells and whistles, but you do need to have one to build an email list. And they do have automation, which is awesome, because once you build like a welcome sequence, you build it once and you don't have to do it again. Like, so someone goes on your website, clicks the button, they get the email, they start getting your emails. You don't have to sit there and physically send them. So the automation is amazing. And then what should you send? I get this all the time. Well, I do this, what am I going to send them? You can, talk about what's happening behind the scenes. You can talk about any promotions you have. You can talk about, anything that's inspiring. Like, people love quotes and they like pick-me-ups. So really, like, what's going on behind the scenes, I think, is always good, because then we get to know you and your business. And rule of thumb is just don't promote every time you email, because then people will just not open your email. They want to read an email about the business. And but I do recommend every 5 emails that you do sell. 5 to 7. Because the whole point of having an email is to make money, right? So, but as we were talking, with the website, one reason to also have opt-in on your website is that you can push people from, say, social media to your website to opt-in. And that's how I bring over to Debbie. Thank you.
So lots of good information already, right? We're still talking about your online presence here. So you heard a little bit about SEO, right? You heard how a website can help you maximize that. So anytime somebody goes to search for a hypnotherapist near me, we all know who pops up. And why it's important to have and to start collecting emails so that you can connect with those people who are truly interested in you. But another way to maintain your online presence is obviously through social media. And I get asked this question a lot, or actually I get told this a lot. I'll have people contact me and say, I have to be on Facebook. I can't tell you how many times people say that to me, and I always say to them, can we talk about that a minute? Do you have to be on Facebook? So the question is, do you have to be on social media? My answer is always, it depends. And it depends on a variety of factors. Your social shares can definitely enhance your SEO. And if you don't have a website, which we just heard that you should have a website, social media can give your business an online presence. But I did put another handout in your packet that kind of shows you social media usage by age. And folks, this is really fluid information, meaning that it changes a lot and frequently. So as of today, actually as of when I got this flyer to the chamber for printing, this valid, and I got the information from a variety of different sources. But here is where doing the homework that we're giving you now on that target market worksheet really comes in handy, because which social media platforms are right for your business completely depends on where your target audience is getting their information. So once you know that, just build out those avatars as fully as you can, because every business is different. Every business is different. So once you do the research, then you know which platform is probably going to be the best for your business, right? For example, TikTok. Boy, I get a lot of questions about TikTok, and I get a lot of people saying, I gotta be on TikTok. And again, I say, do you? Listen, just look at TikTok for a minute. TikTok's coming up. I'm not giving credit where credit is due here. They're one of the fastest growing social media platforms out there. but they still have a lot to overcome. I mean, they're still behind Facebook and Instagram, and look at those numbers for YouTube. You've got 80% between the age, or let's say 60 and 80% of every single age group demographic that's using YouTube. And so, think about that for your business. As opposed to TikTok, obviously, if your target market, if your primary audience is over the age of 65, and you're putting all your time and effort into TikTok, that just doesn't make much sense for your business. So do your research. Once you do your research, then you know where you should be putting your time and effort. And once you decide what platform you should be on, remember, it's called social media for a reason. Just like with the email marketing, your posts should not be selling all the time, especially when we're talking about organic. Everybody gets really excited, right? Because organic social media is free. But they don't want you selling all the time. And the algorithms, I'm telling you, the algorithms are designed to pick up on that, and you won't get nearly as much reach. Instead, I want you to think about creating that social community on whatever platform you decide. And make sure it's not your only form of marketing. It's great that organic social media is free, but honestly, you should have your website, you should have your printed materials, and you should really be putting your marketing dollars into the areas where your target audience is hanging out. That just makes the most sense. So, oh my gosh, I have here that I was going to do, oh man, that's exactly what I'm doing now. Speaking of other ways to do it, we're going to leave the world of online presence now, okay? So, got you full of online presence. Now we're going to move into other areas that you should think about adding to your social or to your marketing strategy, and we're going to start talking about printed materials. No person in the room better suited to do that than Miss Joanne Colella.
Print materials. Up until now, we've been concentrating on digital marketing. But what about print? Print's been around forever. Some people say, or have been known to say, that print is dead. In recent years, there's no denying newspapers, popular magazines, they've been cutting costs, cutting staff, cutting back printing and distribution. As a longtime magazine editor, print is very near and dear to my heart, and print is not dead. If you have a business, presumably you have business cards, but what are some of the other print assets that you should be using to market your business? Well, take a look right now at the folders in front of you. That's all print materials, and you're going to be going home, hopefully, looking at them, reading them, taking advantage of the advice that's in them. That's the power of one kind of print marketing. When you enter or leave the community center today, chances are you're going to take a look at all those racks outside. They've got flyers for all the programs going on here, the events in town, the different groups that are available. I know, and someone in the room will attest to the fact that I am a print media hoarder. I will collect any literature that I find anywhere I go. And that's what a lot of people do. You see it here in the community center. You see it in the library. You see it at the Chamber of Commerce building. They have all the racks of display. If you're a Chamber of Commerce member, you should have your literature in the racks that are there in the lobby. If you go to a store or a restaurant or other places around town, you're going to pick up things by the door, the brochures, the sales flyers, the coupons. Visit any tourist destination, and Fountain Hills is definitely one of them, and we're trying to make it even more of a tourist destination. People will go to the town and they will look for the brochures, the flyers. What is there to do here? Where should I shop? Where should I go to eat? You want to have print materials that tell them that. During COVID, and I said with websites, a lot more people were online. There was also an increase in the amount of attention that people were paying to print materials. Think about all the times you go to the mailbox and you have all that junk mail. What's really direct mail or marketing, we should be calling it junk mail. But yeah, you look on the way in the door, you're tossing it in the kitchen trash. But you know what, during COVID, when everyone was stuck at home, they wanted to have things to read. They were paying attention. And the effectiveness of direct mail in magazines and pamphlets went up a lot more. This is probably also a very good time to point out the effectiveness of publications like the Fountain Hills Times and other local publications. Again, I may be biased, but that's what I was the editor of 5 regional magazines, and they thrived on local news because the first thing that disappeared from the USA Todays and the big media outlets was local news, the pull-out sections, the things that were going on in town, the fundraisers for different nonprofit organizations, what was going on with the local school team. But people still craved that information. So if you are looking to market to the local population here in the town, don't overlook things like the Fountain Hills Times, publications like that will concentrate on small businesses and small grassroots organizations. Different types of print marketing. Going back to the notion of local media, press releases and news articles. If you have news to share about a new hire, an expansion of your business, a grand opening, a relocation, a community project that you're supporting and throwing your sponsorship behind, any other kind of breaking news, don't keep it to yourself and don't assume that people know about it. Write a press release. Have someone write a press release for you. Contact the local media. See if they have a local reporter who would be interested in speaking with you and doing an article about it. Ads and advertorials. There's a difference. An ad is blatantly a solicitation for business. You're running a promo, you're offering a coupon, you have a sale going on next week, something like that. An advertorial is more subtle. It's an article that's certainly written about you. It's highlighting your business. It may be mentioning the fact that you're running a promo, you're doing something in the community, you're expanding your business. It's not hitting the audience over the head, so to speak, with what it is you're trying to tell them. It's giving them more of a human interest perspective. So, for instance, if the physical therapy office is providing services to help people with disabilities, or they're participating in a fundraiser, you can write an advertorial that tells you are doing that activity. And it's not promoting, come to our physical therapy office, use our services. But it's making people aware that you're there, that you exist, that you're in the community, and that these are the things that you are offering. If you do decide to take out an ad, don't make it a one and done. Unless, of course, it's a special promotion, a seasonal sale you're doing, a one-time opportunity. But if you're advertising for the sake of creating awareness of your business, it has to be consistent. Newspapers get that all the time, magazines get that all the time. Someone will start up an ad, they'll run it, and then when the media outlet contacts them the following month or the following week to see if they want to run the ad again, they'll say, I didn't get any business from it, so I'm not sure I'm going to do that again. How do you know that? Unless you're running an ad that has a code in it, perhaps, that identifies, as a coupon, and you're able to track the effectiveness of it. But how many people here truly, you see an ad in a local newspaper or a magazine, and when you go into that establishment, you tell the owner, I'm here because I saw your ad. There's no way to prove that. And if you run an ad just one time, and someone who's reading it doesn't necessarily need you, you're a plumber, and guess what, they don't have a leak that month. That ad's not going to do them any good. But if you're running your ads consistently, you're going to be front of mind, so that you'll establish the recognition and the loyalty, so that when the need arises, that someone needs whatever service it is that you're offering, they'll say, I remember seeing that in the paper every week. Let me look it up, and I'll know where to find you, and they'll remember you. Brochures, newsletters, annual reports. Whether you're a big business or a small business or you're a nonprofit, these are great ways to tell a more expanded story of who you are, what you do, the services that you offer. Nonprofits in particular, people like to see the feel-good stories. Sometimes social media has limitations, mail that you send out direct, you can only fit so much at a time. But if you have a more comprehensive story that you want to share with people on a regular basis, either annually, monthly, weekly, you can use newsletters and brochures to do that. That's where you can include human interest stories and photos, graphics, success stories. You want to share testimonials, share information that's shared by your clients, what they have to say about you, interview them, include that in different kind of marketing platforms. Direct mail, flyers, rack cards, those are the kinds of things I mentioned from the start, that you see out in the lobby here, that you see in stores, you see in the Chamber of Commerce. Those are our standard issue materials that you should definitely use to continue and expand your branding. Books and ebooks. This has actually been another interesting thing during COVID. I've met a lot of people that said, they always had wanted to write that book, but they never had the time. And all of a sudden, everyone was grounded and they had the time. And some people write it from a very personal perspective. They've done memoirs and cookbooks and all kinds of things. But you can also use it to market your business. This is a way that you can showcase your expertise. And a book doesn't have to be a 300-page volume. It can be ebooks, and that's where you have the marriage of online and print platforms. So if you have a service, healthcare service, or nutrition, or beauty services, physical therapy, you can use a book or an ebook as a way to show your expertise. Write what you know, write about what you know, give pointers, give information, do what we're doing here now, but put it in a book format. Self-publishing has exploded the possibilities for books. It used to be you had to go through a publishing house, get an agent, get rid of a million rejections. Now you can do it yourself through Kindle, through Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and you can put it all together on your own. And remember that just because you have printed materials, it does still circle back to digital platforms. You're not restricted to just distributing your print materials by U.S. postal mail or selling books. You can save everything into a digital format, and that's where it circles back to websites and to email marketing. If you have a book, you have a newsletter, you have a flyer, make it downloadable so that anyone that comes onto your online platforms are also able to get it that way. That's it as far as print options. And on the other end of the sometimes old-fashioned notion of print, on the other end of the spectrum, is video, which is also exploding as far as a marketing platform, and that's what Andrew will be speaking about next.
Everybody doing? Can you hear me? Yes. Okay, I'm not going to use the microphone. Let's move this. Okay, why are we moving video marketing? Let's show a video first. So, does quality matter? I'm not good at I'm sorry. So why quality matters is people don't want to go to your website and read. They don't want to sit there and have read War and Peace. They want to click, and if you have a short video, it's to the point, like your greatest hits, they may stay along, reach out to call you, reach out to email you. If it's you holding your phone up and talking, they may go, this person doesn't care about quality. They don't care about their image. They don't care that they're spending what they spend on their marketing. So by doing a higher end video, you get them to stay, you get them to interact, and you get them to realize that you care what your image is. There's all kinds of videos out there on websites, although a lot of websites don't have any, and I don't recommend that, where their nephew shot it, or somebody shot it that doesn't really know what they're doing. And so that reflects upon you, that you don't care what your business is about because you're showing something that's average. So it makes sense to sometimes get out there and spend a little more money because people always wonder, how much is it going to cost? Cost is based on content. You have to ask yourself, when someone clicks on this video, what do you want them to see? Well, you know your business better than anybody else. So get in their head and go, when you click on this, I want them to get X, Y, Z out of it. So in that moment, you have to decide how much you want to spend and what's in your budget. And sometimes you're not going to be able to afford a true professional, and sometimes you're going to have to just go with your nephew. But that being said, once you do have a great video, you can leverage that video to go out on social media. You can take pieces of it. It's a minute long, 2 minutes long. By all means, everybody keep it brief. Anything over 2 minutes, no one's going to watch. They're going to turn it off. But you can take 15-second clips, 20-second clips, 30-second clips, and put those into your social media. And they're very well done compared to, again, holding your phone. Also remember that those ones that you do with your phone, they're okay also. You can use those when you're doing like a monthly or weekly special. If it's a Christmas thing or something else, feel free to go ahead and do that. Go ahead and use your phone or use your nephew or your niece or whatever, shoot that. Because that's letting people know this month or this week what you're doing, and that's totally fine. But as a branding piece on your main homepage, make sure it's solid. What's the difference between good and average? I think we all know that, right? You all watch TV where you're like, it's a great show, that's not a good show. Realize that every element in there has, what you wear, what the music is, what image follows another image, all of that plays a part in good, bad, or average. So by hiring a professional, hopefully they get it done correctly, and you're not showing something that you're not proud of. So media buy versus on-air or social media. Media buy is where you want to actually put your video on a commercial, say Cox Media or whatnot. Video production companies don't do that. That's a separate media buy. Now we know people that do that, so you have to reach out to them, talk to them. It's a huge additional cost because obviously being seen during 60 minutes is a lot different than being seen during Golden Girls at 2 a.m. It's going to cost you a lot. A lot of different prices for all that, and how many times it runs, and what day of the week it runs. So keep that in mind for your budget, or just put those commercials on your website because you don't have to stick to 15 seconds, 30 seconds. You can do 37 seconds. You can drop F-bombs if you want. It doesn't matter. You can do whatever you want because it's your website and you can put any link you want in there. So feel free to do commercials if you want to, but don't necessarily have the money for the media buy. Next we have, we already discussed this, lower end videos do have a place because that way you can promote weekly, monthly, and so forth. And the last thing we're going to do is show you a couple of video examples, but we're going to keep them brief because we don't want to keep you here all day. This first one is, this is what happens, so before a derelict, it was copyright. And what happens when you don't have a budget to spend money on talent, because you can decide whether you want to be in the video, whether you want to hire someone else to be in the video as a spokesperson. And if you don't have talent, you'll notice something in this video. talent costs money. Now, sometimes, in that case, people will hire their friends. And what happens when you hire your friends is they go, hey, I've got to go check, I got to get the cat out of the veterinary's office, and they leave. Well, now your editing can get all messed up because you don't have the consistency of talent. But you can still, there we go. You can still use your friends and get it to work. Keep in mind that animation can be very expensive, but there's also times when you just take still photos and use them. This is not the case on that, but animation
it's enough to overwhelm any company. And when you add your franchisees to the mix, it can make your head spin. Is your branding and messaging consistent? How do franchisees engage with customers? What if a franchisee goes rogue on social media? What kind of digital support can you promise to franchisee candidates? Ralio understands franchising. Our platform is specifically built to benefit both the franchisor and the franchisee. No two franchisees are...
So that's an example where you don't have to hire people, you don't have to use yourself.
the same. So Ralio is set up uniquely for each. And
Get rid of all this for you. So these are things you gotta ask yourself when you're gonna put your brand out there and do a video. Do I need to be in it? Do I wanna hire someone to be in it? How big do we want it? Is it you landing in a helicopter and a bunch of horses flying in? Or is it just you in a single shot? So these are things you sit down with professionals and you talk about and kind of get the budget after that. So that being said, that's my limited portion of, and I'm on the wrong slide, sorry about that, of the video. I will hand this back to Joanne. Wrong slide, Joanne, sorry. There we go.
Before we get to the marketing funnel that you see here, we don't have a slide for these particular points, but they're important and they go across the board. The notion of creating quality marketing content. Obviously, we're covering a lot of different platforms, different possibilities and options here today. But no matter how you decide to market your business, every platform has to include one all-important ingredient, and that's the best possible content. You may have a beautifully designed website, you could have attractive glossy brochures, you can have an amazing captivating video, but if the content being used in those platforms is poorly written, or it's not interesting, or it's inaccurate, if it's outdated, if it's incomplete, missing details, people might see it for that moment in time, but they're going to notice the discrepancies or the shortcomings, and they'll move on to someone else. So no matter how you decide to market your business going forward, it's important that your website, your video script, your emails, your social media posts, anything that we're discussing here, you bear in mind some important things when you create the content that's going to be marketed on your behalf for your brand. Number one, is your information timely? Make sure you've updated the info that you have for your business. Take a look at what you've put out there, what already exists. When's the last time you looked at your own flyers and emails and website content? You should be updating changes about your services. Maybe you're doing something new that you never did before. Make it correlate to the seasons of the year, or holidays, or something that's going on in the world around us. Play those angles and tie it into what's going on at that time. People, when they look at what you're putting out, want to feel that you're current. If they look at a website and they see, you've got an old sale date or an old location or something like that, they're like, you're not staying on top of it. Or if you do have social media and they go to your Facebook page and they said the last time that you made a post was February of 2017, it's time to take a look at things again. Is your content relevant? When you have to remind your customers why your business matters to them and what benefits you're offering that addresses their needs and solves their pain points. Share success stories. Don't just keep promoting what it is you can do, but promote what it is you've done and how you've made a difference. Highlight the range of services that you offer and how those services can save other people time, money, effort, and stress. Those are the things that people are looking for the most, and those are the things you want to solve for them. Is your content engaging? Everybody loves a good story, no matter what. It all comes down to stories. So personalize your message. Create your own unique voice. That's part of your branding. Include testimonials that highlight your clients' stories too. They want to be able to look and say, hey, look, it was probably the kid in some of the videos here. There are people in those videos that are in this room. People get a kick out of that. Also, when you're creating engaging content, don't overlook the value of sharing what you do to give back to the community. Everybody needs an uplifting moment or piece of information. Giving back to the community, I'm very big on the notion of volunteering, and volunteering as a business owner, not just because it's the right thing to do, but because you never know when the things you do from the heart strike a chord with a potential customer also. And those are the ways that giving to the community comes back to you in a million unexpected ways. And perhaps if you have a cause that's near and dear to your heart, and your business does fundraisers, say for breast cancer, or for muscular dystrophy, or for homelessness, if someone's looking for a particular service or a business or service provider, and they're deciding between you and a competitor, and they see that you're doing something like that, and it happens to have some meaning to them, that might be the tipping point. You may never know it, but that may be the tipping point that makes them go to you and not to someone else. And most of all, is your content written well? The quality of the communication you put out is a reflection of the quality of your other services. Whether people realize it or not, if it's subliminal, they will notice if your content is sloppy. Make sure everything that you put out is accurate, it's complete, it's detailed, it's professional, it's easy to understand. I hear all the time business owners say, that they're tremendously skilled at what they do, but they hate to write. They don't like to write. They're not good at talking about themselves. That's where you may need to rely on someone else. You may be accustomed to speaking in a particular jargon. Perhaps you're in a very technical industry, a medical field, professional, technical equipment, construction. And you're used to using a particular lingo and certain terms. And if you're communicating with your peers that get that, that's fine, and you want to be speaking that way. But if you need to market those services to the layman, the average person on the street, for lack of a better way of putting it, I don't want to use, I'll say you don't want to be dumbing it down, so to speak, but you want to make it more understandable, so that people know what it is that you're talking about. You might be hurrying to put out some information, to make a post online, to send out a press release real quickly before you meet a deadline, but you forget the details. It happens all the time. Someone's having an event and they forget to put the time, the date, the location. Who do I contact for tickets? What's the ticket price? Proofread, edit, look, have other people look at what it is you're putting out, make it as perfect as possible. All of the things that we're talking about here go to the marketing funnel. Your audience starts out unaware. If you're a new business, or if you have information to share about your business, the world out there is unaware of it. You're trying to funnel that attention and that awareness. So at the top, you've got an audience that is completely unaware of your message and what it is you're trying to get across. As you get more and more effective with your marketing and what you're trying to do, you're going to funnel it down that you make them aware of their pain points and what you can do to address those pain points and solve their issues. You're making them aware of the solutions and how you can provide those solutions. And then, once they've identified what they need and they've identified what they need to solve it, then you're making them aware of your products and how you can address those needs for them. And if you're doing all of this successfully, you're making people most aware about what you have, what you're doing, and that's going to translate into the dollar signs. People, there's all kinds of expressions out there, the notion of, if you own a business and no one knows about it, do you really own a business? It's like, if a tree falls in the forest and no one's there to listen, does it make a sound? So the idea with marketing, you want to make a sound, and you want to make it an impactful sound.
Again, lots of great stuff. I have to tell you guys too that, like I said, we've been putting this together for about 3 weeks, hanging out with these guys. My website's updated. I've got an opt-in now on my homepage. I'm cooking with gas, let me tell you. And Andrew wanted me to mention, he forgot to mention this point, that in your packet you should have a video.
It's a sheet, so if you are going to shoot your own stuff at home, it gives you tips for lighting, where to place the camera, having a microphone. Because you should all shoot stuff at home and put it on your websites, but not your main branding piece on your home.
Here you go. So you got lots of good stuff in your packets too. Lots of things to consider. But, so, it all comes back, we're all doing business here in Fountain Hills, right? So let's wrap it up by talking about how do you apply this here in Fountain Hills? We all live here, we all love it here. And Fountain Hills is one of those super unique communities where we all take care of each other, and I love that so much about Fountain Hills. One of the ways you can really enhance your business is by networking. Figure out, there's so many groups that you can get involved with here. So figure out what group, where your people hang out, and join that group, and just make sure you get involved. Obviously, the chamber is a big one for all of us on the stage here, and I know many of you are chamber members as well. If you're not, I can wholeheartedly recommend chamber membership. It's a great way to build your business. But honestly, folks, don't just join the chamber and then sit around and wait for it to work for you. Get involved. This chamber is one of the most active chambers in the state. I think we won some awards for being one of the best in the states, and it's because of all the member benefits that it offers. take advantage of them. And if you don't know what they are, well, we've got Brew with Betsy, well, at least once a month, where you can come and find out how to maximize those. Make an effort to attend. Community events and sponsorships, holy cow, you guys. I mean, if you can't find something to attend here in Fountain Hills, you're just not looking. You know, you gotta walk outside your front door and get involved in something that resonates with you, because, and I think it was either Joanne or Barbara brought this up, you know, when you're actively involved in something, you're super passionate about what you do, you attract those like-minded people to you and to your business, and it is, you know, so don't just do something and then sit back and wait for something to happen. Get out there, sponsor events, be visible in the community. It makes a difference here in Fountain Hills, truly makes a difference. What else I wanted to say? Also, I wanted to kind of emphasize, Joanne was talking about advertising the Fountain Hills Times. I tell a lot of my clients to do that as well. If you've got one of your primary audiences is a newspaper reader, you guys gotta be you've got to be in the Fountain Hills Times. They've got a subscriber base of about 4,000, but Brent Cruikshank tells the funniest story about neighbors who have said, oh, I love that my newspaper is, I don't get to read the newspaper until Thursday. He said, we deliver on Wednesday. She's like, well, actually, one neighbor gets it on Tuesday, and she gives it to the next neighbor on Wednesday, and then I get it on Thursday. So, he says he has 4,000 subscribers. I think that there's more. And then the Deals in the Hills that they do, I think it's like at least 4 times a year. That goes to every single home in Fountain Hills. And as of the last census, I think we had like 11,400 households here in Fountain Hills. So,
I'm new to Fountain Hills, only been here a year actually. And I'm just going to say, I went on the Fountain Hills website first time, can you hear me? And you can put your business on there for free. I didn't know that. But if you got it, maybe everybody will go there and plug in. I'm like, oh, crap.
I didn't do that. Not everybody in the room. Yeah. So, so collaborate. Obviously, this is a great example of collaboration. And again, kudos to the Chamber for having these luncheon rooms, because it brings... We have the best time working together, I have to tell you. And, all of them, everybody here brings something to the table. And so it's just been wonderful getting to know them. Visibility is also something that, when you live in Fountain Hills, it's hard not to be visible, but make sure you have branded clothing, maybe your cars have magnets. Do stuff that when you're out in the community, people can start putting 2 and 2 together, because maybe they've been to your website, maybe they've gotten an email from you, maybe they've seen a post on social media or seen your ad in the newspaper, but, they start putting 2 and 2 together when they continue to see your brand showing up as much as possible. And then customer service, just word of mouth advertising. Of all the things that we've told you here today, none of it beats word of mouth advertising. Fountain Hills is famous for word of mouth advertising. A referral from a friend is going to get you a really qualified lead. So make sure your customer service is on point, and that you're the business that they're going to refer the next time their neighbor asks you for your product or service. That's all we have for you today. We're going to open it up to questions now. Does anybody have any questions for anybody? For any of us? Yes, ma'am.
I have a question for Andrew. Where is that bike path?
That is out on Round Wrench, so it's take Dynamite to 136th Street, hanging a right, and I think it's about a mile and a half in.
Thank you. And that's what your videos are great.
Oh, thank you.
Anybody else? Any other questions?
I do. What is the yellow bar on the funnel? I couldn't see it, and I was like,
Okay, that
Product aware. Yeah. That's the goal, right? To start out with people who are unaware, and then they become the most aware, and hopefully they're in the... Anybody else? Any other questions? Yeah.
Thank you all for coming, we appreciate it.
You know how I said they couldn't sell their own services, but I could do it for them? So I do want to share that the Chamber of Commerce uses Clason Communications for uniquely Fountain Hills. I'm sure you saw that, I'm sure you showed a video. So we love using Clason Communications for that, DayLite Films for our PR video and all of our event videos. We're using Colella Communications for our new media list, and we need to connect with Foreplay Copy to figure out how we're going to do Foreplay Copy, because she's so brand new, and that's the only reason. So anything that you saw from one of these professionals, if you feel like it's something that you want to reach out, we really encourage you to reach out to these professionals who gave up their time today to educate you, because they really will work within your budget to support you and your business. And I'm sure you all already said that, but I really want to encourage you to do so. If you have an on-time drawing raffle ticket, I'm just teasing, you all got one, whether you were on time or not. The first one is, the first winner will win an illustrated map, the famous illustrated map. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then you must win, so you'll know what I'm talking about. The winner is 5638852. Last four digits, 8852. Oh, Susan Dexter. And then I have two Fountain Hills Day hats. And my daughter is a teen, she's 14 years old, 14 and a half. And so I know that if she likes something, it must be trendy and fashionable and okay. And she loves our Fountain Hills Day hats. I hope that you will too, and I have two of those to give away. The last four digits, 8858. 8858. Going once. Is it you, Kathleen? Awesome. And the next one, 8884.
So next week we'll be debuting Oktoberfest, and some of the people in this room are in that video. So when Betsy puts that up on the Chamber website, look for yourself.
Awesome.
You all look great, though.
Poor Andrew has been looking at that video for months and months and months.
I want to add something to it. I know Debbie touched on it. Certainly with the notion of optimizing your chamber memberships, when we were putting this entire thing together, we said one of the things that we should talk about is success stories, not just our individual success stories with what we do, but success stories in general. And one thing we all agreed upon is that in the realm of marketing, the best success story that we could highlight is the chamber itself, because I think one of the greatest benefits the chamber gives to every member is the marketing that's done. And I've seen chambers and networking groups all over the country, and I have never seen anything as effective and efficient as the marketing that the team at the chamber office does. So all of the stuff that we talked about here today, they are doing, and they are doing well. So be sure to make that at the top of the list of the benefits you take advantage of.
Pay for later. We just want to thank each and every one of you for taking time out of your day to be here and enjoy this marketing class and your chamber U for the summer. We do not have another chamber U slated until 2023, so kudos to you for taking advantage of this one. Our videographer, AKA my boyfriend Chuck, filmed this class today, and it'll be on our YouTube channel by the end of the week. So if there's anything you want to refer back to, you can look on our YouTube channel to rewatch, and you can fast forward and get to the exact spot that you're looking for. So thank you all again very much. Please give them all a huge round of applause for their time. Thank you all very much. Have a great day.